YouTube, and it says it is working. Hey YouTube, how is everybody? How is my audience for tonight? It is so good to be able to be on. Of course, if you were on last night, there was some difficulty with me. I had a little bit of difficulty, but now I am here. I'm going to type in the chat down here. Please say hello if you wish. Say hello. And where are you from? All right. So tonight we're going to talk about systems. We're going to talk about systems. And the reason I'm choosing to talk about systems is because of a conversation I had with a student of mine earlier today. As many non-native English speakers will say, and if you are a native English speaker or you speak English as your first language, you may have heard someone say that I have a huge amount of vocabulary words. However, when I'm ready to speak, those words just don't come forth from my mouth. Now, I'm not trying to say that they would say that as clearly as I just said it, but you get the idea that yes, they have a wonderful, wonderful list or book of vocabulary words, but this is not how we actually engage in conversation. It isn't about words or a word, it's putting sentences together. And when you have lots of sentences that are not connected, it doesn't mean anything, or it's meaningless to your listener, because we're listening for words to come from the place of what is this conversation about? If we're talking about the weather, that's a simple conversation. It doesn't need a 50-cent word to talk about the weather. If it's business related or company wide related, then you might use a different genre or a different type of vocabulary word. But in general speaking, your vocabulary is just your basic conversation, which means you just need basic words. So one of the words that we discussed last night's word was resume. And when I had my computer shut down or whatever transformation it was going through, I didn't think to try and resume by looking at it to see what was going on. I just tried to adjust and make the changes that I could, not really realizing that it had already resumed recording again. And I went to my Facebook page on my cell phone and I started to talk. But here again, I'm just letting you know that I used the word resume, which is one of our vocabulary words. We will have another word that I will post before midnight tonight. And those of you who are following me in the January challenge, as I said, we get about 5 words per day. And at the end of 31 days, if you have followed me consistently, you will have about 150 words that you actually could use. And you can go back and look at the videos if you choose to do so and follow those vocabulary words. My system says to me, 7 is the magic number. When you learn the word from yesterday, or as you learn the word from yesterday, use that word 7 times within the course of a day. In the event you can't pace yourself, I'm sitting on pillows to raise myself up. In the event you can't pace yourself, then just choose 5 times in that day to intentionally focus on that one word. And I can assure you that that word is going to come back to your mind again. I'm not saying just say the word resume, but use it intentionally. If you're at your job, you could say, I'm going to resume my work now. If you go to lunch, you could say, after lunch, I'm going to resume what I was working on. Force yourself to think about using the word in a very good way. Now, I want to share with you what one of my students said today as we were talking about how the English fluency was going. She told me that she watched YouTube channels. She read magazines, and I think she said newspapers, and she has a grammar book. All of those are good. All of those are good things. And I was talking with Coach Dwana today about this conversation, and I will say that she did share some wonderful information to me that maybe I need to rethink a few things. But at the same time that I'm rethinking some things, it is all about systems. There's a systematic way to approach anything that you want to accomplish, regardless whether it's English, washing dishes, putting gasoline in your car. There is a system. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone follows a system, but there is a systematic way to do everything. Let's just say putting gasoline in my car. If everything is functioning as it should, there's a cap, well, there's a door on my car that I have to open up the door, unscrew the cap, drop the cap down. It has a little attachable string or rubber or device or something so that you don't put your cap on top of the gas tank and drive off, which I have done. Before they made the attachable gas tank caps, I have left several of my gas tank covers on top of the gas tank. So that was a smart thing that someone thought, let's see what we can do to help people like Priscilla out. Yay. Now you unscrew it, you take the lever off of the gas, put it into your car. That is a system. It is a system. No matter which one you do first, you can take the lever out first, then unscrew the cap. But there is a system. Whatever works, it's what you typically will do time and time again, especially if it's the same vehicle. Now, what I was saying about grammar, and in my classes on tomorrow, I will illustrate this again. Grammar is very important, but at the stage of the game, in my opinion, if you are already speaking and people are able to understand you, the grammar is going to take care of itself once you embark upon the art of practice speaking. Most English speakers are going to be very nice and kind to you if you can speak English well enough for someone to understand you. We really do not wish to interrupt you, because when we interrupt you just to correct you, you lose your train of thought, and then it puts everybody a little bit off. Well, we're not as comfortable as we would be if we just let you struggle on with whatever it is that you're saying. But the more you engage in the conversation, the easier it will be for you to speak. You notice how I'm losing my train of thought when I'm thinking about what should I say? Could I correct you? No, just speak. Just speak. If I know the context of the conversation, it doesn't matter if you're talking about a dangling participle or unconditional phrase or subject verb agreement. It doesn't matter. You will eventually get it, but your focus should be fluency. Just talk. And I will say this from the point of whatever your native language is, I'm almost certain that there are grammar rules. If they're not called grammar rules, they're called something else. But there are rules of speech. There are rules to speaking. And everyone in your country, whatever language you speak, they are not speaking with perfect grammar. And I wanted to tell you that I met a student 2 days ago from, I forget the country. It is in Africa. It starts with the letter A. And he is familiar with 86 languages. Now, I'm not saying, and he said he wasn't saying that he could speak 86 languages, but he is familiar with much more than 10. More than 10? I was impressed. He is an author. He is an avid reader. And I was just blown away with his conversation. And he spoke with such enthusiasm in his voice. And what he has asked me to do is to help with translating from Ethiopia. I'm not sure if that's the name of the language, but he has written a book, and we're going to maybe translate that into English. So I'll keep you posted on that. It's going to be exciting. So today I did read one page of it, and I translated one page just to give an idea as to how I interpret what he has written. Now, obviously, I'm not reading his language. It was put into maybe Google Docs and translated into English. And if you've ever put anything into Google Docs for translation to another language, it may or may not capture the essence of what you're saying. So I don't know if I've captured the essence after reading the Google Docs of what he wants you to know, but we'll find that out sooner or later. Again, my focus for tonight is to tell you that systems do work. Systems do work. And if you are having challenges with grammar and you don't know how to bring grammar into the conversation, which is what your ideal choice is, you won't be able to do that just by learning the grammar rules. You will need to create situations. You will need to create the environment that is conducive to that grammar rule. And I believe in the magic of 7 times 1. Focus on one grammar rule per day and practice using that one grammar rule 7 times within a day, and you will master that rule. So you don't have to keep studying that same rule again and again and again. When you're going about your studies in that manner, is it going to be slow? Yes, 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 and double yes. It is going to be extremely slow. But here's the beauty of taking baby steps. When you take baby steps, remember the story about the tortoise and the hare? The tortoise was always just moving along at a very slow pace, and the hare was going and exhausting himself. That was the hare. Then one day, they decided to have this race, right? The tortoise and the hare. The hare knew that he was much faster than the tortoise. And the tortoise was, well, we will see. I'm not in a hurry. I want to take in the sights. I want to see the flowers, smell the fresh air, and I'll leisurely stroll to the finish line. Well, the hare just ran all the way and was totally exhausted. And he was only a few feet from the finish line, but he too wanted to prove a point that he was faster than the tortoise. Faster does not always mean better. So the hare sat underneath the tree, rested and rested a little more until he dozed off to sleep. While he was asleep, the tortoise was plugging along. And that's to say, the tortoise was just this far from the finish line. And the hare woke up almost in time to overtake the tortoise. So here's our word. He resumed his pace of racing, but it was too late. He could not get to the finish line before the tortoise made it to the finish line. So you know the gist of the story. The fastest is not always the quickest. So I'm suggesting that if you find a system that works for you, but first you have to be able to identify what it is a weak point. And we were able to identify what a weak point or what a perceived weak point is. But the perceived weak point really isn't the weak point. The weak point is what we already knew: the lack of opportunities to practice speaking English. And when I say that, the lack of opportunity to practice speaking English, I don't know of anyone that has gone on an interview, they got the job, and they didn't have some type of training. It was not expected that you would just step into this position and do everything in a great way, in a miraculous way. And this is how it is with anything that you want to do. It takes time. You may have to read a few emails to see what people are saying. You may have to answer a few phone calls. You may have to talk to a few clients before you make any definitive decisions about anything. It's like learning the ropes. So give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace and believe that you can do whatever it is that you wish to do. And here's the beauty of being in the world of technology. Today, it isn't even necessary for you to leave home, especially if you are a non-native English speaker. You can find everything that you want on the internet, absolutely at no cost, other than your time and your energy. But for those of you who are interested in having someone coach you to English fluency, I'd like for you to consider giving me a call. With the information is below. Schedule a time for us to talk, and let's find out what is the best way for you to develop your skills in English and how I might be able to help you with that. Hi, Dolores. Hi, Dolores. Thank you for popping on. I'm usually on for 20 minutes, and it is now 17 minutes in that 20-minute session. So it's really good to see you. Happy New Year. I hope that this is a great year for you. It is wonderful for me, and I'm really happy that you were able to pop on tonight. I am on every night at 8 p.m. until the end of January. I've just committed to coming on every night at 8 p.m. Eastern time for about 20 minutes to talk about what I do and how I might be able to assist non-native English speakers reach their goal. So again, tonight we're talking about systems. If you have a system and you work that system, it will work for you. In actuality, the system will work harder for you than you will work for yourself. Let me give you one more example before I end for tonight. When you go into the bathroom in the morning to brush your teeth, I don't think that you have to think about, oh, let me pick up my toothbrush, my toothpaste, let me put the toothpaste on my toothbrush, let me put my toothbrush in my mouth and go up and down, up and down, up and down, around, up and down, and then do your tongue. I don't think that you have to think about that. It's the automaticity of an action that you have systematized. And when you systematize something, it doesn't take you but, a few seconds to get it done. And this is what I want to help many of you get to do with your English fluency. If you've been working on English fluency for 6 months, 2 months, 2 years, 15 years, and you still haven't found something that will work for you, no, I don't have a magic bullet for you. I don't have a magic bullet for you. It isn't like I'm going to take off the top of your head and drop down some information. But I am going to teach you how to own your voice. I am not trying to rid you of your accent. I'm going to teach you how to enunciate your words clearly so that whether you're interviewing, changing jobs, getting into a university, and those English proficiency exams that I've helped many students pass, it's all of a mindset. You can speak. but you're thinking that you want to go in. Some of you are thinking that you must go in and impress the examiner for the exam. The examiner doesn't want to be impressed. The examiner just wants to know that if you are able to enter into the university, especially if you're coming to an English-speaking country university like the US or the UK, that you can actually speak and interact in some sensible way with your fellow students and your professors. Notice that sensical, is that a word? But it's okay. It's okay if it is a word or if it isn't a word. I think anyone that is listening to me and understand English, just a small amount of English, then you understand that instead of sensible, I said sensical. You still get my meaning, as we would for the non-native English speaker. All right, it is at that hour. I'm Dr. Priscilla. I am a native English speaker. I live in the US, and it is my pleasure to come to you for each night of January to give you a tidbit of some of my knowledge. And I hope that you'll join me either on Telegram, the Facebook group, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Until my next live stream, which will be tomorrow night at 8 p.m., thanks for popping on. Dolores, thanks for popping on. It's good to see you. Bye, everybody. Goodbye, Facebook. Thanks so much, all of you that are watching on YouTube. Thank you for being here. It is my pleasure. I'm Dr. Priscilla. Bye for now. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.